Good morning, good morning. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Joao Perre Viana, straight from sunny Portugal. How are you, Joao?
Very well, very well. As you can see, I'm out in my office.
Walking Mentorship. It's a very unique project, Joao. How did you come up with the project of Walking Mentorship? Maybe we should start by explaining what Walking Mentorship is.
Sure, absolutely. So basically, we are talking about a tool of self-development that uses three elements in every program: mentoring, walking, and nature. So these three things are always together. And every program of Walking Mentorship, despite being more specific for one emotional cluster or a theme, they always go through let's say, four different stages in every program. First one is to slow down. I think it's quite challenging in today's world, but it's very important because when we slow down, we can listen and we can question and think better. The second moment, it's about reconnecting with yourself and reconnecting with the ones around you and the environment around you. And once you do these two things, you slow down and you reconnect, it becomes easier to gain perspective. So the third moment of our programs, it's really about zooming out from your current moment in life and trying to vision and perspective what you want to achieve in the future. And finally, every program to be complete needs to end with an action plan. So this is really where we focus. It's to create an environment where a person, where a team can actually understand not only what they want to do, but how they're going to do step by step. So in a nutshell, I would say that this is the characteristics of Walking Mentorship.
And I think the very important question is, does it work? What kind of impact does it have on people's lives? You've mentioned to me earlier that in a scale of a year, you probably mentor around 1,000 people. 250 people per year, right?
Yes.
So with your practice of several years, you probably have a couple of thousand.
Yes, I believe that the outcomes vary tremendously from person to person for a simple reason. Because when a person joins this experience, they have an initial question which is about what is your focus question? Meaning that for each person, the outcome would be as aligned as possible, I would say, with the needs and the desires and the moment in life of that person. But overall, I would say that the fact that every person has an opportunity to go away from whatever is happening in that moment in life, and I think this is very important. It's really about creating the conditions, creating the environment for you to organize your thinking process. Because most of the times what I see is that people have the answers actually they need in their heads, in their hearts. They know pretty well what they need to do. They know pretty well what are the challenges, strengths, weaknesses, limitations, ambitions. But usually, the fact that people delay tremendously, I mean, this sounds pretty obvious, but people delay to be more present in their lives. Because when you have that environment, when you are for a few days in a stage that actually you go deep, because probably that's one of the biggest issues we have these days. We are really on the surface of almost everything. But when you go deep, when distractions are replaced by this green, beautiful forest and environment, actually it's much easier for you to listen to yourself, which is probably the best thing you can do. If you do it in a structured environment, and I think that has a benefit, it's a little bit, like when you go for a walk. Actually, I think this is a good image, and you are following a trail. you have these signs, these road
Road
signs that
signs, yeah.
somehow show you where to go. And once in a while they say, hey, 10 miles or 10 kilometers to the next village. And I think that these mentoring programs are a little bit like that, a little bit like those signs. I mean, you're not obliged to follow. I mean, you can jump the fence probably and find your own route. Probably you will get there. You can go around, climb the wall, climb the mountain, but those signs, they can help. And if you pay attention, actually they can help a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah, nature can be very supportive environment, and I think very undervalued because it is for free, it is available, but for some reason it doesn't click in people's mind that hey, why don't we just use it? Why don't we take advantage of it and help ourselves with whatever issues we have to think of, right?
Absolutely. I mean, quite often, I guess now less, but let's say 4 or 5 years ago, especially people close to me, friends or family, they would comment, "Come on, Joao, how is this possible? Charging for walking? How can you do that?"
That's a very good question. Yeah.
Always the same. I said, "Look, but walking is for free. I mean, it has to be for free. This is an incredible tool. All you have to do is to stand up, open the door, and go." I mean, this is, as you said, this is such a powerful tool within reach for every person. Actually, I've been walking with people that probably had a lot more limitations to do this experience compared to other people, and they do them in terms of age, physical condition, but they do it because if you really want to do something, you will. And I think walking is exactly a good example. I mean, for free, all you need, I guess, it's 2 legs, or maybe not even that. You still can do it. Some comfortable shoes, and that's all you need. You don't need special gear. You don't need anything else but actually the will to move forward. And what an important, I would say, and powerful metaphor, because usually we don't walk backwards. Just by synchronizing your thoughts with the movement of your body and doing that forward, I would say that you actually are moving forward with your life along with your body.
That's absolutely wonderful. And Joao, okay, obviously you take people, you take individuals, you take groups, and you take them for a walk. But how does the program, the mentoring work? Obviously, you have a background as a mentor. You've been on boards of different startups and companies helping people accelerate their business. So you have the tools, I believe. And how do you implement those tools in this program?
Sure. Well, Kasia, what I've noticed with my 20 plus years working in corporate world, that are really incredible tools out there, methodologies. I mean, on that level, I think we have so many things we can use, but usually we use them for companies to be more efficient, more profitable, if we do those tools. And what I noticed while managing other organizations and working with people is that actually it's possible to use tools that either exist or you can adapt and create the conditions for people to structure their mind. And what actually I've done was to develop it, to know that we have something nearby like that, and create something that it's sufficiently flexible that you can use it, but you can use it in a way that you feel it's good for you. So you actually it's not school. It's not like school, typically that tells you this is the way, this is the only way, and now follow the way. Take it in your hands, and it basically takes you from one exercise to another to give you the room for you to open up different doors, different explorations, different reflections. And I actually always like to reinforce, this is yours. It's up to you to decide to use it or not, because I also understand that different people in different moments have different needs. So you have a base to work, but then give the freedom and the flexibility that the person can, go a little bit more in detail. Actually, I have feedback of people that continue to carry their survival kits years after the program. I hear some people. I love this story. There's a lady that she puts the survival kit every day in her case, and she takes the case to work. And I was asking, but do you read it or you work on it every day? And she said no. But for me, it's like an assurance, because if I have doubt, if I want to revise something, I know that what is really important, wonderful tools and wonderful people doing this kind of work all over the world, but always keeping in mind that each one of us is pretty unique, and in a different moment in life, we might need something a bit different from what you planned in the beginning. So that flexibility, I think it's a good thing to be there.
Well-being is becoming very important and more upcoming. People are becoming more aware of how important it is to look after our wellness, our well-being, our mental health. What is your experience on working with well-being? I also came to call well-being the superpower in today's corporate world. Would you agree with that?
Well, let's start with the well-being, and then I'll try to give you my take on that superpower. I think that people are more aware of the importance of the well-being, not necessarily because of the conditions that we are living. If you have a job, if you work in a company, doesn't matter if it's a big corporation, small, medium, it doesn't really matter. If you have a family, if you have friends, if you read the news, if you follow up politics, on and on, actually you understand how much threatened your well-being is. This caused a situation where some people just understood, okay, for me to survive, and I think this is really not a good sign, I'm going to play with the minimum rules to survive, but actually my life is a little bit on hold because I'm really feeling trapped. And in some cases, because I cannot forget the meaning of what we are doing and the purpose of what we are doing can be extremely questionable, to say the least. Mm-hmm. Because we go through the days, we go through the weeks, months and years, because they go really fast, and we start suffering. And I think this is where the well-being appears as something absolutely critical and crucial. Because if you start feeling doctors, you do the checkup and nobody finds anything. It looks like you're fine. Maybe you're stressed, maybe you're anxious. Well, you are not feeling fine. And there's so many people that are not feeling well. So what are the alternatives? You start looking at yourself. You start looking at things that maybe can help you to change, to inspire you, to motivate. And I think these are, it is us. Because if you sleep well, always on a rush, if you listen to other people, if you actually manage to enjoy your friends and family, your body actually reacts accordingly as well. And yes, I think you can call it a superpower because you are facing other superpowers that are not good for you. So probably, I guess you're right. We might need a superpower.
Well, we're back to basics. It's so crucial from the point of view of human being and our functioning. These are the super basic things. Yet the world is putting so much pressure on us that they're getting disrupted, right? We don't, as you said, we don't get enough sleep, we don't get enough space. How does walking mentorship help in disconnecting from life, just to taking the break? For people who feel overwhelmed with their stressful corporate lives. How does it work?
Well, is to combine a couple of things that they seem to work pretty well together. First of all, is
the duration of the program. Obviously, that I believe there's many people that we could have all of this in 1 hour, like a blue pill, something like that. Well, it doesn't really work that way. For you to slow down, usually I would say that my shortest programs last 3-4 days, and this is really I would say the beginning. Ideally, it should be at least a week away. So 7, 8, 9 days. I think that's already incredible. If you can take a full week on your own. And from one side, the duration of the program, incredible impact. Actually, when we talk about walking, and today we have really robust science research to back up. And these neurotransmitters have an incredible anxiety and stress that almost everyone has today. And this helps you actually to feel better, which is great because if you are doing something that is extremely demanding, you are thinking really deep, it helps if you feel better, if you have more clarity. And the third element, which is about nature, it's very interesting because,
we are back with Joao, the walking mentor, straight from Portugal. Joao, beautiful, beautiful Portugal. What is the impact on our lives when we take break from technology, from being online? What happens? What are the results of the digital detox, which you also incorporate in your programs?
I believe, Kasia, that the moment when we make that time to be with ourselves, our thoughts, and the usage of technology is less intense as we have in our days, I think it really helped us to hear what, first of all, to hear how we are feeling, because I think this is very important. It's I think people are having really a hard time to make that question. Sounds very obvious, but this is the starting point. If you don't understand, if you don't hear how you are feeling, it's not possible actually to move forward with clarity. You will be bumping against a lot of things. So I think that it's really important. By the way, I have to say that I have nothing against technology. Otherwise, we would be having this talk here.
Absolutely.
But I'm very critical about the usage we are doing of technology. I think we have incredible advances, and I'm very grateful to that. My life would be very different without technology. But let me give you an example. In our mentoring program, we usually have an exercise which we call time lapse. I mean, this is a simple exercise that anyone could do it. I would even say anyone should do it once in a while, probably more often. And this time lapse exercise asks you to look at the typical week of your life. So imagine, it's like a laboratory. If you pick up on 7 days in your life, what do you see there? Your activities, level of satisfaction, and a very simple thing, which, by the way, today mobile phones or smartphones help you to do that without any pain, which is look at the function in your phone that says time management or screen time. It's incredible. Just open up your phone and you see how many hours per day I'm allocating to social media, email, whatever. Mm-hmm. And when you do this exercise, unless you are, I was going to say unless you are blind, but actually it's not even about being blind because I know a lot of very smart blind people. It's about being fooled. Unless you are fooled, you will immediately see, I'm going to give you 1 or 2 examples. Quite often in the program, either husband or wife join the program alone. And in this exercise, they are thinking what is absolutely critical in my life. And imagine, this man says, my wife, she's the center of my life. I love her so much. But then they do this exercise, And when they count how many hours they spend per week with their partner, they start asking me, having dinner with my wife counts? I mean, my wife and the kids, and say, no, that doesn't count. What about sleeping on the same bed, in the same room? No, that doesn't count either. And then it's really it's a revealing moment, because you think, I love this person, the most important person in my life, and I spend 0 hours per week. Obviously, if you're not a fool, and if you want to change something, you'll understand. Okay, maybe I need to plug in, 1, 2 hours per week. Let's be optimistic that at least we can do that. I mean, that's an aspect. Another one I want to refer to you, which happens more and more, because it's alarming. Sometimes I ask people to check their screen time, and they notice that they have more than 20, 24 hours, 25 hours, 30 hours per week, either on games or social media. Just think about it. This is a full-time job. It's not even a part-time. So actually, people have full-time jobs, which, by the way, they are not even get paid for it. They pay actually to work, without very little benefit. And I think this is where we need to focus, because if you would tell me I spend 30 hours, watching YouTube videos, and out of that I get so much learning, I develop myself so much, and my life is improving. But quite often I don't hear that. I hear things like, I start, opening windows on my computer tabs. I start with videos. I start with, scrolling down an app, and I don't remember when I stop, and I don't get much in return. So probably this is where we really need to pay attention, because think about, I'm not sure if we catch this part, but if I think about what is my biggest motivator in life, I have no doubts about the answer. It's the idea that I'm going to die. This is my biggest motivator. If I'm feeling lazy in the morning and I don't want to get out of bed, this is the only thought I need to plug in my brain. And believe me, I stand up and I go. Because you understand that your life is so valuable, so unique, and there is a sense of urgency, not to create anxiety, but to give you more responsibility. I mean, you have today. What are you going to do today to have the life that you want? I mean, you want to have peace? Maybe you need to meditate. Well, but to meditate, you need to put hours or minutes in your day to meditate. Meditation doesn't come from a cloud. You want to eat better, you need to take care of yourself when you go to the supermarket. Do you want to spend time with the people you love? You need to make time to be with them, because it will not happen other way. That is a very interesting thing.
Absolutely. And I think you're saying very important thing. It's just this awareness. It's just this switch in our head saying like, hey, to me as a psychologist, it's a lie. What you said before, that when people say like, okay, I love my wife, but then I spend 0 time with her, then okay, something here is a lie. So it's very simple. And yeah, I think it's very, very important to make people aware. And I think in your programs and just like in my programs with the digital detox, this is the whole clue to make people aware, to just wake them up, right? It's like a wake-up call. What do
But I guess you need to put the phone away if you want to wake up. I think it's really, to try to wake up, continue to doing the same, routine, the same habits. It's pretty hard. I would say I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. But I've seen that people that really want to change something, actually they are incredibly good at, bringing change to their life. It's marvelous.
Yeah, you have a lot of experience with that, and I want to ask about it. I want you to share, because it's absolutely tremendous. What your program can make, what a digital detox can can change in people's lives. I remember you mentioned to me when we talked last time that people realize that the perception of time changes.
Yes.
They suddenly realize, like, wow, I have all the time in the world, and it's absolutely incredible benefits. Tell us something more. How does it work?
I think there's something to do with our brain, honestly speaking, and that's why those neurotransmitters are really important because they do play a role, and they are all legal. So that's a good thing. And I think that when you create this uh, awareness in your life, you actually have more possibilities to keep it in every day. And this sounds very simple and obvious, but it's not. Because you basically have two options, I would say here. Either you go with whatever flow the day is giving you, and that can be good, bad, or terrible. I mean, you never know, because it's not really your choice. You are following. You get worried when you read the news. You get upset when somebody makes something at work or that you don't like. I mean, you are following that. Or you have I think a very interesting option, which I've seen as a result. When you know what you want to do and where you are going, actually what happens around you, it's constantly challenging you on the way you react. But that's on your side, because the way you react, that's not third party. That's you. And it's very interesting because the more present you are, and I think that's why programs like this are useful, because they are really a wake-up call, and they show you, there are other way of doing things. So maybe you want to give it a try. And it's interesting because people, after one day, after 2 days, they are talking, and I'm listening very carefully, and they are talking about something that probably happened in the morning, but it sounds they are talking about something that happened 10 days ago. So actually life probably stretches the way it should stretch.
Mm.
Because one life, it's an incredible opportunity to do incredible things. One life. Because we are too worried about how to prolong our life, how to, live up to 200 years. But then we don't even care about how we're going to live today.
Absolutely.
Today.
We forget about the quality of life.
Absolutely. So I think that the more present people are, the more aligned they have their actions with their purpose. We did not talk about purpose, but I think this is important aspect, because this is really a powerful tool. It's a little bit like those definition, I think, from Galeano, this South American poet. When somebody asked him about why do we need utopia in life? Because you will never get there. And I think he mentioned, utopia is like the line of the horizon. I will never get to the line of the horizon, but I can keep going because I know where I'm going. Hey, we all need a little bit of utopia in our life. And I think our purpose, at least for me, it's my utopia. It's my line of the horizon. Am I going to get there 100%? I don't know. Probably not. But I keep going. And actually, I know where I'm going. Do I have challenges, problems? Of course I have, like everybody else. But I know where I'm going. And if I see a big stone on my way, I'm not going to try to break that stone. I'm going to try to be like water. Water is very smart. I mean, if you look at the river or stream, water doesn't try to break a stone, at least in the first 1,000 years. Mm-hmm. What it does, go around, finds a way. And you know what? The water keeps moving forward. And when you see people get stuck on a stone, and sometimes not even a big stone, and it's a really small stone, and they stay there, and they complain, and they want to break the stone, you will not do it, at least again, during the first 1,000 years. Maybe then you succeed and turn it into sand. But it's so important that you know why you are here, even if it's not the best definition you could find. But I think it's so important because your actions then reflect like a mirror your answer, and not necessarily for the yeses that you have to say, because I have many doubts about yeses. A yes can be a yes and can be whatever, but a no, it's always a no. So when you say to a certain type of food, I'm not eating this, this is amazing because you are saying yes to something else. When you say, I'm not going to work in this company, actually you are saying yes to something that you want to do. Same thing with relationships. Same thing with time management. I'm not going to go to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to go to bed maybe at 9:30 or 10. You know what? Today, I'm going to put computer and phone away and I'm going to read a book because I want to say yes to the quality of my life.